The Tower of Babel, yeah. I'm clearly not doing a Tower of Babel video. I did say in my last video that my next video would be a Tower of Babel video, unless something happened. Well, I didn't have to wait long, did I? I didn't have to wait long because I got a little a comment came up on my last video from a guy called Ed who often keeps me up to date with how many Patreon numbers are dropping. And he said, oh, by the way, you're not one of the Magnificent Seven, which I was taken aback at, but I'm not surprised, honestly, because as you're probably aware, I've tried to keep away from the rumours, which I don't want to repeat, because again, they may just be rumours. I wish there was some concrete evidence that I could actually put a comment on it, but I'm not willing to. But I think a lot of the other people who I've looked at the list of Magnificent Seven haven't commented about it either, so I'm not too sure what's going on there. But anyway, let's get back to the update. So basically, there was an update on, I think, his Twitter account, which then led to his Facebook account, which bizarrely I can look at, but hey ho. And it's long-winded, it's massively long-winded. So for those of you, who need to go to the toilet, put this on pause, go to the toilet and get a coffee, because I'm just going to near enough read it word for word, interjecting my views on certain parts of it. But it is quite important that we read the full thing. So anyway, this was put up 12 hours ago, so I think I might have been in just about, no, I wasn't quite in bed, but I was heading that way, because yes, I was up at 5:30. So anyway, a legal update from Lloyd Evans, yes. Jabba the Hutt, Peter Griffin, the organ grinder. On May the 4th, I tweeted that a criminal lawsuit had been filed at the Sisak Municipal Court, my local jurisdiction here in Croatia, in relation to defamation by 7 listed defendants. I mentioned at the time that I was glad the matter was finally in the hands of lawyers and the legal process was underway. Yes. Anyway, since then, surprise, surprise, I don't know why I never thought this would happen. Since then, the barrage of defamation has continued. Well, you know, it's potatoes and that one, I think, resulting in an inevitable outpouring of hateful trolling, in addition to countless abusive tweets, YouTube comments, who does those, and videos. I've received malicious voicemail messages and been stalked online. Really? Anyway, so during a recent trip to London, someone posted a screen grab showing my interest in a dating event. Yes, we all know about that one. Which Kim Silvio quickly posted as a YouTube video. Apparently, my love life with consenting adults can seem to be worthy of public scrutiny. Yes, Lloyd, this is the problem. Your love life, I wouldn't even say love life, because it's what sex got to do with love. It's not love life. Your sexual adventures with consenting adults, and some of them have been forced into that position from an early age, sadly, continues to be worthy of public scrutiny. Yes, it was then, it still is now, because of course we know that you do hold a lethal weapon in lethal little Lloyd. We're concerned for potentially the next unsuspecting, consenting individual who maybe is actually looking for love, actually meets up with James Lloyd Evans. So yes, we are concerned, because, you know, what girl in her right mind would want to start a relationship with this man and his track record? Because clearly he wants, you know, he wants to be able to follow pastures new. He definitely wants little Lloyd to have more adventures within a relationship. So good luck with that one. But so that's why it does. This forced me to go onto Twitter and out the fact that Lloyd's wife and I, Dejana, are currently separated, i.e. not yet divorced, and living as single people. Hence, there was absolutely nothing scandalous about the revelation. Well, at the end of the day, is a couple of things here. He might have just outed that fact before somebody outed him. Actually, just said, "Quick update for everybody here. Me and the wife are going through a trial separation period. We're going to try and see how we can get on living separately." Usually, when people go through trial separation, the one thing that they don't try to do that if they're wanting to, you know, if the trial separation is usually in potentially to then patching things up, going a bit, you know, patching things up in due course. You know, the one thing that I don't think you normally do in a trial separation is, unless you're of course Ross out of Friends, is that you then go and try and have sexual experiences with somebody else, because he clearly went over to London. It wasn't to date. It was obviously to hook up with somebody for the weekend, and that's what that was all about. He says. It says there was nothing scandalous about the revelation, but at the end of the day, he should have announced beforehand. By the way, I'm going through trial separation, although I'm actually looking to still have sexual adventures with anybody who's up for it. And I'm going to go over to London for a speed dating event. Please don't warn the young girls over there who I might meet with Lethal Little Lloyd. And I'm actually going to put on the dating site that I'll lie and say that I live in, I think it's Woodford Green in London. I'll actually misrepresent where I actually live and not actually say that, you know, currently I live in Croatia. So basically the whole thing starting off with him is a lie. You know, straight away he's going over there, he's still married. He's still... trying to patch things up, and he's going over to London, to, you know, he's not single. He's still married. He may be separated, but he isn't single. So he's going over to a single night event, being a married man, and claiming that he lives in London. So tell me, of all those things, tell me, you know, I think he's misrepresented himself, and like I said, I think going by what he goes on to say about other people, I think, yeah, I think. That there are things that, as I've said before, when it comes to the legal process, you know, has he defamed himself? I don't know. But anyway, we'll crack on. We'll crack on with this. I'd assume that by now the court would have sent legal paperwork to all the defendants. The lack of documentation seems to be causing some to claim that the litigation is fictitious. Well, this is true. And or an empty threat aimed at silencing my detractors. I thought it was distractors. Maybe spelled that one wrong. Maybe it's detractors. Or detractors. You know, where, you know, he's only detractor when he's growing those big, juicy, homegrown red tomatoes. Get confused. I'm thinking about Farmer Lloyd Evans there. I've also been disappointed by the slowness of the legal process. When you know you are, right, here we go, we're back into the land of fantasy and living Woodford Green and being single again. When you know you are innocent of damning accusations, you want your name and reputation to be cleared as quickly as possible so that you can move on. Hold on a sec, I need to pause it because it's a bit windy today and these doors have just bizarrely opened up. Hold on. Oh, yes. We're having a storm here in Scotland. One day the sun's going to appear. Yeah, that was a bit bizarre, wasn't it? A bit spooky how those doors just opened the way they were. I mean, what's left of them here is only flying over the other side of the summer house. Well, this is actually a summer house, but can you see the sun? No, I should maybe call it the cloudy house or the winter house. So let's crack on. Where was I? Oh, should we start all over again? No. So it says... Yeah, the damning accusations. You want your name and reputation to be cleared as quickly as possible so you can move on. Now, this is probably of everything I've read in what we're going to read now, if we have got enough time on the tape and if you last this long. And when he says he wants his name and reputation to be cleared as quickly as possible so that he can move on, I don't know what the guy is on about. As I've said before, like so many other people, once they become involved in sort of sexual scandal, their name is ruined forever. His name will never ever be cleared. His reputation will never ever be back the way it was. He is damaged goods. Lloyd Evans, the name, the brand are finished. Yes, he still does have bizarrely people who still watch his videos and still pay this guy to go over and lie, to go over to London claiming he's single, living in London, to go to dating a singles nights event, speed dating event. But clearly there's no way he's going to have the reputation he had beforehand. He is finished. The fact about this is that he can't accept that he's ruined himself, he's damaged himself. This is the problem. He's damaged his own name by his actions. Just other people have just actually come out, like himself, and said, this is what he's done, this is what he's told me, and I'm telling other people because people should know this. People are giving this guy money in good faith for his activism when he's actually spending it, as we have already shown. There's no way he can say that no patron funds were used for that trip to Thailand. Anyway, I'll crack on. Admittedly, I haven't been chasing my legal team over each and every detail. I'm probably too busy going over to London for speed dating sites, stating that he's living in London and single, including all the timescales and deadlines involved. Oh dear. Given the extremely stressful and upsetting nature of this defamation campaign and the ongoing damage it is inflicting on my activism work, private life and mental health, I have been happy to just leave them to without asking too many questions. So at the end of the day is, when it comes to the ongoing damage inflicted by my activism work and his private life and mental health, all those damages are self-inflicted. All we're doing is, people have chosen to do videos like this, is just comment about what he's done and how we feel. That I felt let down personally, because like I said, I went to Manchester to meet him for a meal one time, and I respected the guy. And I said before, when he actually announced he wasn't working out for him, I did a consoling video saying, you know, I was sad to see him go. But now I feel an absolute fool. So at the end of the day is, you know, this continuing process is because this has continued on because, like I've said so many times, if at that time just had done what he said he was going to do and just go away and just leave the whole Lloyd Evans, John Cedars, activism work and just taken himself right down, none of this would have happened. If he'd just gone out and got a job growing fine, red, juicy tomatoes and becoming a farmer, he probably could have salvaged everything, including his own marriage, maybe, you know, his reputation in the area as a guy who used to do that YouTube stuff, but now he produces lovely vegetables. He could have done that, but unfortunately, he craves the attention. And as a result of that, he wouldn't let it go, you know, and he thought, I can survive this, I can survive this. Well, you can be the judge of that. So he goes on to say, but recent events have prompted me to contact them for clarification on matters. To avoid confusion, I felt it would be helpful to provide the following information and share documentation proving that the lawsuit has been filed. Now there's a link at this point in the Facebook posting. I'll just show you there. If you click on this link, there you go. So there you go. If you go into the Facebook, I will put a link to this Facebook posting, so you can actually then go on and see that yes, it's all in Croatian, so heaven knows there's only a few English words I can understand here. These are the only words I can read. Number one, James Lloyd Evans. Whatever a strank is, it's strank. Yeah, apparently James Lloyd Evans is a strank. Oh, well, there you go. And Prosterstrang are 7 names. And we've got Kim Marie Silvio in Australia, Jonathan Berger in Nizozemska, wherever that is. Don't know what that is. Joel Martz, obviously America. Michael Brooks, America. Kim Brooks, America. Mark Ashley Latham, Britannica, and Cora Lee Latham, Britannica. So basically, he's gone for 2 married people. So that the Brookses and the Lathams. Jonathan Berger, of course, he apparently he's got Jonathan's site is growing every day, so he's probably the best person to go and watch when it comes to witnessy things if you're into that. Well, we know who Kim is, obviously, and Joel's the guy. I believe Joel, he does a YouTube channel. He's the Vasta Prostate Hour. And he actually put up a Lloydegation live with the Vasta Apostate Hour, the Young Witness, and also Capitans on it. So I'll do a link to this as well. It's about an hour and a half, but they do their comments through. I haven't watched all. I've watched bits of this, but they go through the comments. They go and analyse what he said, and the two of them are sort of talking about it, going back years, because there's been things going on between Joel and Lloyd a long time ago, apparently. But anyway, I'll put the link to that as well, because I think if anybody's interested, they should go and watch that as well. Anyway, we'll crack on. So, obviously, I'm not one of the Magnificent Seven. Says, you will note I've been careful to redact all personal contact information, both my own and those of the defendants, for obvious reasons of privacy. Only the names of the defendants and their respective countries have been made visible in terms of identifying information. I'm sure they will complain that even this is too much, but since they have heaped abusive defamation on me by name, I don't think they have too much room to complain if I name them in return. Oh well, horses for courses. But yet again, I don't think anybody's defamed this fat useless bastard at all. And I don't think I'm defaming him by calling him a fat useless bastard, because he is fat, he is useless, and he's acting like a bit of a bastard. So, sue me. So anyway, I'll crack on. Some have claimed that no Croatian court has legal jurisdiction over people living abroad, i.e. America, UK, Australia. I've been repeatedly assured by my top, I've just put top, it doesn't say top, I'm just being sarcastic there, by my legal team, that this is not the case under Croatian law when it comes to defamation. Really, it makes sense that simply living in another country shouldn't be enough to protect someone from breaking the law using the internet. Otherwise, online scammers could defraud people living in other parts of the world with total impunity, if they actually do that on a regular basis. When I asked my legal team what would happen if the defendants were to simply ignore the lawsuits, they assured me that a verdict will be reached even in their absence. Now, this is an important point. I've only read this once, so I don't know if he comes back to this. But the point about this is, even if they do reach a verdict which goes in Lloyd's favour, and maybe they award damages to the fat useless bastard, Peter Griffin, the organ grinder, for maybe, it may be sums which are smaller than it took him, James Lloyd Evans, to take the case of cause. We've seen that happen so many times, whereupon the damages awarded are actually less than what it took to take Lloyd. So he actually may come out of this out of pocket. Because after he's after he's paid his lawyers, court fees, you name it, he may end up saying, yes, we'll award you damages of X amount of money, and he's paid, because he's doing like, 7 people here. It must be a lot of money, this. And at the end of the day, even if they award him damages, how in God's name can that be enforced? Maybe the Croatian court will say, yes, we actually do find in your favour. Each of these are going to be fined €1,000 or 3,000 euros each. How can they enforce that? How are they then going to enforce that in the different countries? The process of doing that will cost even more money. And I don't think they can even do that. I don't think you can enforce, say, oh, well, over there. Honestly, because there's people, for instance, in this country, I've got people in Britain itself, have got county court judgments against them in this country, right, for thousands of pounds. And guess where they still live? They still live in this country. They just don't pay them. Literally, they just don't pay the county court judgments. Honestly, I know, because as a job, one of the jobs I have done in the past is I trace people, and a lot of these people have county court judgments all over the place, and they just move from address to address, and you can't enforce it. Oh dear! If you ever watch the programme, the sheriff's officers. In fact, in Scotland, I don't think they even do sheriff officers. But anyway, you'll get what I mean. So he's on a hide into nothing. And maybe just wants the satisfaction to say, yes, I've awarded damages, been awarded damage by Croatian courts, knowing full likely that it's only a moral result, not a financial result. Then he can say, look, that the court has found in my favour, therefore I was right all along. I think that's where we're going, because it can't be for a financial recovery from this. I think it's purely to somehow say, I told you all, I was right all along. I think that's what it's all about. Anyway, some have complained that I haven't provided specific point-by-point rebuttal regarding the defamation I'm suing for. I have also seen defendants complaining that their efforts to speak to correspond with my lawyers regarding this litigation, its legal basis, the amount of composition proposed in the warning letters, or whatever else they had a problem with, met with poor communication. It did, because we've seen videos of this guy's legal team being contacted by phone, and they never respond. We know that emails have been sent to his legal team, and they haven't responded. So some have complained. Sorry, everybody's complained, Lloyd. Not some. Everybody's complained that that people have said, They were told to phone the number and discuss the matter, or email and ask. They just want to say, at what point in my video, my Twitter, whatever, have I defamed you? I want to know why I should pay you whatever it was, €3,000, whatever it is. Why should I have done that? How have I defamed you? At what point? Show me. Hey ho. So he goes on to say, when you defame someone, it isn't their job to provide a point-by-point summary of how you defame them, or help you fact-check your defamation content to make it more agreeable. They get to take you to court and sue you. And if you know that you haven't defamed them, you can challenge their evidence when it is produced before the court with your own. You lose the right to amicably resolve matters when you publicly try to destroy a person's name and reputation with lies. It isn't lies. All we're doing is commenting about the things you have admitted. That is not defamation, that is just confirmation. Dear me. So anyway, the warning letters were non-negotiable and purely a part of the pre-trial process. They were not an intimidation strategy. I think they were an extortion as well. My lawyers informed me that there was no legal compulsion to send them. So why did you send them? But it would weigh in my favour if I gave those defaming me an opportunity to stop and make recompense. No, sorry, at the end of the day, the letters actually said to contact them to discuss the matter. And you know, who in their right mind would pay somebody €3,000 or whatever it was, like I was asked to, without an explanation of at what point in any video of mine that I'd said something which was untrue. Still waiting. Where am I? None of the, he says, none of those defendants who received warning letters heeded them. We actually, some people actually asked for a breakdown of why we were supposed to pay money. So that is complete and utter bollocks. And yet another case of the fat bastard lying again. Sorry, they did heed them. They actually said to them, I want an explanation. They phoned them. It's recorded. It's on YouTube. Complete lies. So because they didn't heed them, because nobody responded to the letters, we can move straight from pre-trial to the trial stage. In other words, there was one acceptable response to the warning letters, i.e. we apologise and will comply with your request. Since no response to that count was forthcoming, the lawsuit was filed. No, they actually asked, can you explain to us what we've done, which comes under the ban of defamation, and why you think we should pay you £3,000 or £10,000 on people's cases. I also want to make it clear that those who receive warning letters but haven't been listed as defendants, well, that would be me. That would be me. Hello. Hello, everybody. I'm one of those. I also want to make it clear that those who receive warning letters but haven't been listed as defendants are not exempted. Oh, not exempted from future civil action. Well, good luck with that one. Neither of those who have produced defamatory contents but have yet to receive any letters. So apparently he's now building up a whole list of other people. Hello, Derek Cavell, and hello, and obviously he's wanting to probably see when this all goes to trial, and he hopefully, if he gets the result he wants, may think, ooh, I'll do this again. But I've got a wee feeling that this isn't going to work out the way he wants it to. Under Croatian law, the statute of limitation for criminal lawsuits is 3 months. We therefore had a 3-month window from January 31st, when the first defamation appeared online, to April the 30th for defamatory material we wished to include in litigation. Since it was impractical and too costly to include... Well, there's the cost. Since it was impractical and too costly to include all 12 individuals, that would include me as well, who received warning letters. The translation costs alone are eye-watering. 7 of the worst cases were selected, and the remainder, including any that have not yet received a letter, may be included in future civil action, for which the statute of limitations is 3 years. So apparently, that, you know, I've still got another 2.5 years to wait, depending on the success of the criminal lawsuits and the damages paid out. Of course, those sued criminally can be further sued civilly. Yes, we know that. And so obviously he's trying to do criminal ones, not civil ones at the moment. Yes, is that the way it's working? He's doing criminal ones. Yeah, anyway, it's a bit confusing. I know some have been protesting the innocence of some who received warning letters, but who were not named as criminal defendants. You need to understand that no matter how much you may think a particular video is fair, ultimately nobody knows the details of the private life and activism work of Lloyd Evans better than Lloyd Evans. In the case of one popular XJW YouTuber who produced a 1 hour 37-minute video, I think this is a Jonathan Berger video, because I've not done one that long about this fat useless bastard. 1 hour 37 minutes about me and my private life, and seems to pride himself on taking a balanced and objective approach. I can tell you he managed to lie about me within the first 2 minutes. Well, there you go. That's obviously why I think Jonathan's in that one. Again, we'd like to know what Jonathan said in the first 2 minutes, which was lies. Maybe actually said, I think Lloyd isn't fat at all. And that's clearly an utter lie. Completely defaming, because he is portly and morbidly obese. A fatty, a bit of a tubby. Just look at the chin itself. So I know some have been. I've done that one. It's hard to overstate just how much damage has been caused by the defamation campaign. It isn't a campaign. This is people going onto YouTube and expressing their disgust at James Lloyd Evans' actions with lethal little Lloyd. It isn't a defamation campaign. We can't believe this guy did what he did when he was banging on about standing up for the rights of the victims of CSA within Jehovah's Witnesses, and then getting people to send him money to churn out more content, when in fact the only content was getting churned out was coming from lethal little Lloyd in Thai brothels. That is the problem. This isn't a campaign. There hasn't been an orchestrated campaign. I've not liaised with anybody else. I've just given, like so many other people, their views on this guy's conduct. It's not a campaign. It isn't defamation. We're just talking about what this guy has done and how a lot of us feel ultimately let down by him. And he says hundreds of patrons have been lost after being swayed by the torrents of lies and mischaracterizations about my working character. Sorry, the reason why you've lost hundreds of patrons is because of your conduct. It's got nothing to do with nobody, I'm sure, watching my video, any of my videos, has decided, well, that's it, yeah, this guy's talking sense. I'm gonna stop giving this useless lump of lard $2.50 a month or £25 a month. We have instances of a guy putting on video who was a top payer to this useless bastard. And he came out because he just thought this guy still hasn't apologised to all the people who gave him money and has abused his position in doing what he's done, just like anybody else who's high-profile person who gets paid to do one thing but misappropriates those funds to do something which is completely opposite to the thing he's supposed to be doing. That's what this is about. So yet again, it's blaming everybody else. He's blaming everybody else for the fact that his money has gone down and it's affecting, and his reputation is damaged. He just needs to. There's clearly no mirrors in the James Lloyd Evans house, wherever he's now living. He should look at it one day and have a good hard look at himself and think, yeah, actually, it's me. The one person to blame for the shit show that's continued to go on is him. But he probably just looks and thinks, my God, I look absolutely stunning and a pure babe magnet. Probably that's the way it's going on. So he goes, he says, I honestly can't blame those who have left. Well, neither can I. They were very skillfully, this is bizarre, they were very skillfully tricked and could easily imagine becoming, and I could easily imagine becoming disillusioned myself in their shoes. Well, if you can see how they have become disillusioned by putting yourself in their shoes, why don't you really put yourselves in their shoes? It's got nothing to do with any defamation campaign. Just go back and watch your own live video where you admitted what you've done. This is why this has continued to drop, because you've continued to proclaim your innocence and say, oh, it's not me, I've done nothing. And people have had enough with James Lloyd Evans' protests and the blaming everybody else. But he doesn't get that. Really, truly, mate, put yourself in their shoes and maybe your eyes will be open. Well, put yourselves in my shoes anyway. But you probably won't do, because my shoes are probably too small for you. Anyway, and too clean. I hate to think what's been dripping on your shoes. So he goes on to say, thankfully, as of now, the majority of my patrons have stuck with me. For which I'm profoundly thankful. Some have even joined me specifically because of all what's been done to me and my family. Yet Hundreds have left because of exactly what you've done to your family. At some point, it's my hope that a full list of examples of precisely how I have been defamed by each of the defendants during the 3-month window will be made public. We'd hoped that this would be included in the original filing, but due to time constraints, my legal team chose to wait for the court to invite them to amend the paperwork retroactively with specific examples based on evidence I compiled back in April. I won't publish the evidence summaries I sent to my legal team because I do not wish to undermine their work. Well, you could do. You could actually go through, just help us a little bit. Just go through specific videos where any of the Magnificent Seven defamed you. Anyway, so he says he apparently he's compiled for each defendant. Each page has links, dates, time, stamps, relevant quotes from Silvio, Martz, Brooks, Latham, Berger and Brooks again. Today, June the 10th, which was yesterday, I instructed my legal team to expedite the process of amending the paperwork to always have means. So maybe in due course we'll find out something interesting. Once the amended paperwork is filed, I will be sure to make it public. So there we go. Within hopefully a matter of days, we will find out exactly what any of these people have said which defames that fat, useless bastard. He says, so everybody can know exactly what lies have been told, when and by whom, like by saying that you lived in London and you were single. It will then be for the court to decide whether I have been defamed, and if I have, what the damages should be. You see, this is the bit. It still is up to a court to decide if he has been defamed. They may actually go back, and somebody should send whoever whoever's jurisdiction is this, so of that particular court, and say, please watch this video of this guy doing this live stream, and then actually consider whether we've defamed him or whether we've just commented about this guy's live stream video where he admits to cheating on his wife over the past 4 years with prostitutes and go over to Thailand for not scuba diving, dating a sex worker. Let's get this right. In the meantime, if you're in any doubt that I'm serious about pursuing litigation so that my name can be cleared, it will never ever be cleared. And my work and legacy protected. He's on about his legacy protected again and his work being protected. It's gone, mate. Your legacy's fucked. It is gone. You are mud. Your work and legacy is gone. No ex-Jehovah's Witnesses will ever recommend somebody who's on the verge of leaving to watch a video by Lloyd Evans to be the turning point from the leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses, because anybody in the right mind will then just say, oh, who's this Lloyd Evans then? And go, bing, 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 bing. Oh my God, this is the guy I've heard all about. He's the guy who did this and did that. And so then you want me to watch one of the videos. I would not recommend anybody, even when my brother or my mother were on the verge of coming out. I'd never ever recommend any of them to watch any video by Lloyd Evans, because they will come back to me and say, oh, well, this is... What? You think, that you're just proving the organisation right? That's what happens when you leave the organisation. You end up becoming an immoral person. Sorry, I'd never do that. So sorry, buddy. Your legacy's ruined, and nobody who's got half a brain will recommend a video for them to watch to bring them out of the lies. It ain't happening. Oh my God. Sorry, it's only the second time I read that, and reading it a second time, it's awful. Hopefully the paperwork I've shared will go some way to reassuring you. It won't reassure me, you utter twat. Some will have noted in one of Kim Silvio's latest videos, then he goes on about the whole Kim Silvio, is she or isn't she a retired lawyer? Actually, I don't care. The fact that she was taken into this, he took her into his confidence when she didn't ask for it, and then she decided to then say, look, people need to know this. I don't care what she's. Kim Silvio could be the cleaner. She could be, I don't know. She could just be somebody who's very, very smart and intelligent and honest and has some morals. She doesn't have to have an occupation, as far as I'm concerned. I don't care. So he does go on about Kim an awful lot in this, but I'm not going to read this because I don't think it's important. So he goes on to say, so I'll just go through it. You can go and read it yourself, right? I'm not rising to that challenge. So he goes on to say, I feel I owe it not just to myself but to future generations of actors to continue to fight her bullying and send out a warning that there are consequences when you use lies to destroy someone just because you personally dislike them. At the end of the day, this bit, consequences of lying because you personally dislike them. This is the guy who says that who stated that Stephen Lett hates children. Only Stephen Lett knows if Stephen Lett hates children, yet Lloyd had no problem saying that Stephen Lett hated children. I do remember watching the video, I thought it was a bit extreme that. He said he hated children. So this is the same thing. He wants to do other people for doing exactly what he's did. But in this case, we know what Lloyd Evans is all about. We haven't any proof that Stephen Lett hates children, but we know that Lloyd Evans is a guy who went to Thailand and used prostitutes, and has been using prostitutes for 4 years, and it is an illegal activity. Sorry, how can your name be cleared for being involved in illegal activity? Sorry, it's illegal. And also all the things he went on about Tony Morris. Numerous videos, Tony Morris has got a drink problem. Clearly Tony Morris is an alcoholic. Clearly in this video he's inebriated. All those things definitely come under the banner of using lies to try and destroy someone just because you personally dislike them. Obviously he hates Les. Obviously he hates Morris and all the rest of them. So if he can see something and he thinks, you know what, I think this person hates children. I think this person's got a drink problem. No proof at all. But he has no problem putting it out there for everybody to see to try and personally destroy them. And yet all we've done is commented about the things that he's admitted he's done. There's a massive big difference, Lloyd. There's a huge difference. Christ almighty, what an arsehole. And that is fact. I will stand by that last comment. This ordeal has been harrowing and unquestionably the most stressful experience of my life. Far more so than losing my mother's cancer. So he thought he'd cheer himself up with by going to London and trying to get his end away with some poor unsuspecting girl, pretending he lives in London and he's in fact single. And he's gone over there with a lethal weapon in his pants. Lethal little Lloyd. God knows that should have a hazmat suit of its own. With the passage of time and with the help of my psychiatrist, I feel I am making progress in adjusting to the new normal of constant abuse on Twitter. Well, you've been abusing people online for years, mate. So it's about time you had a bit of your own medicine, because you've been doing it. I'm thinking you're, you know, the champion, but you've been doing it. It's about time when somebody gets done for not lies, for actually being him, get a bit of online comments saying that they're not quite happy with his conduct. On YouTube and elsewhere, and with it an ongoing violation of my private life. Like I said, he had no problem putting up videos of a private moment with Tony Morris buying booze. Not a problem at all, but there you go. It is also incredibly helpful to be able to lean on my legal team and trust that the laws, well I didn't say the in-laws, that the laws in my country will go at least some way to delivering justice and holding my attackers accountable. God, I wish this arsehole was held accountable, and that Patron actually did an investigation into what funds were paid to him to churn out more content for his activism work, yet what funds from Patron sent by these people was actually used to date sex workers. I'd love them to do an investigation on that. I really wish if anybody again has said it is actually paid money to this useless lump of lard in the past, please oh please, why don't you just go to Patron and dob him in, dob in the dobber. So, but more than anything, I want to thank all my viewers and patrons who continue to show their support and solidarity during the most challenging chapter of my life. I will never forget those of you who were with me in my darkest hour. Thank you, Lord. Well, there you go. That's it. I don't really not reading any more about that anymore. I'll leave the link so you can read it for yourself if you want to digest it. How much is left on this? Oh, I've got a wee bit left. So anyway, that's it. I said I wouldn't come back unless something more has happened. Sorry it's a long video, but I did want to read most of that. I wasn't going to do the Kim Silvio bit because, again, I don't care. I'm just happy that Kim Silvio exposed this man for really what he is. At the end of the day, I've said this time and time and time again, none of us will be talking about this. This would have all died out months ago if he'd just gone away and done another job. But unfortunately, he's too much into his legacy, his reputation, his body, his work. He's too much into the Lloyd Evans brand to realise that Lloyd Evans, the man, has destroyed the brand. It is a tarnished brand. Lloyd Evans the man has ruined Lloyd Evans the brand, and nobody else has damaged that. You know, anybody who's left isn't because of what they've read. They've just, all they have to do is just watch that video or the subsequent other videos, the one that he did with Andrew Gold, for instance. They could just watch that and think to themselves, oh my God, this guy cannot say sorry. Oh my God, this guy does think he's blameless. Oh my God, this guy really is a complete, utter arsehole. So that's it. I'm not going to say any more about it. I've said enough. Yeah. Wow. Anyway, for the Magnificent Seven, I don't think you've got anything to worry about. Honestly, if damages are awarded, good luck in trying to do it. But at the end of the days, I think at the end of the days, all this is for him to turn around to his loyal following and say, see, I've been justified, I was defamed, it was a bullying campaign, and damages have been awarded, even if it costs him money. Hopefully, it'll actually end up that they don't find in his favour, and they'll actually ask him for money for recoveries in court costs for doing this. I hope to that. And yet again, if you're going to take somebody to court, like the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial, and say somebody's defaming you, and they haven't, then you're open for yourself for counter litigation for saying you defamed me by saying I defamed you, and so it goes on. This is all about trying to rescue his name and his reputation. Unfortunately, the guy's such a complete arsehole that he doesn't realise he's absolutely fucked. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day. Oh God, you couldn't make this. I wish Netflix had done this. I've said this before. Why didn't Netflix, if you're watching this, if anybody's to contact Netflix, quick. This has still got some miles in it. Netflix, honestly, there's a great series here involved. Netflix, grab hold of this, because this isn't dead. This is going to run for quite a wee while yet. Anyway, I'm off. Bye bye.